And good morning and welcome to Eagle 98.1 Game Day from the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studios. I'm Charles Hanagriff along with Jordy Culotta as we walk you up to LSU and Ole Miss. This will be the season finale for the Tigers as they attempt to even their record at 5-5. LSU 4-5 after their really astonishing win against the University of Florida last week, 37-34 in Gainesville. By the numbers, as best we can tell, it is the second or third biggest upset in SEC history. Max Johnson made his debut as starting quarterback for LSU and accounted for over 250 yards through the air and on the ground. LSU plays Ole Miss today knowing that it'll be their final game of the season as they have opted out of playing in any bowl game in this COVID-shortened season. And, Jordy, today for LSU at home, this is an opportunity to build on last week's win. It's an opportunity for them to finish the season with some kind of positivity, a couple of wins, some more experience for the young players as they get to what will be a much-needed break. So this game, while it is not for a championship and it won't mean much of anything in the standings, does sort of represent another building block, another benchmark, if you will, for LSU football.
Absolutely. When you look at momentum, I think that LSU has a real big chance today to close this season. When you looked at it, and you gave the scenario a couple of weeks back to have a chance to look at 5-5 square in the face and momentum of National Signing Day, a win versus Florida, and a win versus Ole Miss as the last three big scenarios of the season, I think everybody would have signed up for that. And here's LSU with a chance to close it out with a win versus Ole Miss. And it looks like all momentum going into kickoff is on the Tiger side, right?
Well, yes, because for Ole Miss, this is also a chance for a winning season. They are 4-4. They are one of two schools in the conference that is going to, actually four schools in the conference, beg your pardon, that will have lost a game to COVID. Still, the league's mark of playing 69 of 71 regularly scheduled games is nothing short of remarkable. But the Rebels, as Jordy said, don't have a whole lot of momentum at this point, just from a standpoint of inactivity. Yep. They've only played twice since Halloween, though they won both of those games against South Carolina and Mississippi State. Year one for Lane Kiffin has, if nothing else, been entertaining. They got out of the block slow at 1-4, but they haven't lost since. And there's, as it always is with Kiffin, some creativity, some entertainment value. And they come in with one of the best offenses in the country and one of the worst defenses.
They do, but that offense takes two major hits earlier this week with Elijah Moore and Kenny Yeboah opting out on Thursday. You got to think what that meant for the morale of the locker room for two of the best guys on the offense to say, you know what, one game left, we're out. LSU's experienced a lot of that this season. They've experienced from their elite players making those choices. With Moore and Yeboah making this the decision this week, you got to wonder where Ole Miss's head's at going into 2:30 kickoff today.
Tigers and the Rebels at 2:30. We'll have our usual crew in with us today. Mike Detillier and Shea Dixon. It was National Signing Day this week in just another a bizarre set of scheduling quirks, if you will, this year. Jimmy Ott, Matt Moscona, Jacob Hester, and Gordy Rush are all with us today. Plus, we'll hear from the players and both head coaches. LSU and Ole Miss. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When morning came to Louisiana, we were hopeful, not hibernating. We were mending fences, feeding neighbors, and holding our kids. When morning came to Louisiana, we were wide awake, planting seeds for next year's crops. We were stronger, ready for what's next. And together, as we build anew, Blue Cross stands ready to support you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day Skull Session. Presented by Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln on Airline. Under the giant American flag. Now here's Charles Hanagriff. And from the LSU Sports Radio Network, Gordy Rush.
And welcome you back into Eagle 98.1 Game Day. 2:30 kick today for LSU and Ole Miss. Gordy, you're going to be blessed with better weather today. You're going to know how to operate without, rain gear and heavy winds.
Wait, I have my rain gear.
Oh, you did, just in case?
No, I'm just, it's supposed to rain in the second half. I thought that's what it said.
I was just looking at the sunshine now and thinking
no,
maybe you caught a break.
No, it's beautiful. Second half, it's supposed to rain. I'm going to just go ahead and put rain gear on since I got surprised at Arkansas and Texas A&M, right?
Well, we'll see.
So rain the whole day.
See if it'll hold off for you. Just catch a break.
You got me
here
looking. Go, Charlie.
All right, let's start with the LSU defense against this Ole Miss offense. Lane Kiffin, one of the more I like to use the word creative with him because he'll give you a lot of different looks. There's a lot of different things, and he adapts to his personnel pretty well. The first year at Alabama, when he turned Jalen Hurts into the SEC Offensive Player of the Year, a lot of horizontal stuff, but when he got a little bit deeper in his career, he'll go vertical, and he has done a terrific job with Matt Corral, who was a middle of the road maybe kind of guy last year. He's turned him into an extremely productive player. So you look at this particular personnel grouping. He's going to be without some key guys today. We'll get that in a minute. Schematically, what do you see from him?
Well, exactly what you talk about. It's a lot of different formations, and he's going to look at the LSU film, I think, the same way that probably a lot of people looked at Eli Drinkwitz and what he did with Missouri against LSU. And the problem with LSU is if you give them a lot of movement, you do a lot of motion, you give them things they're not familiar with, they're not 100% sure what they're doing on the back end, and can you get them the bust? And that's been one of the, people have had success against LSU from Auburn to Missouri to Mississippi State in week one in having busts. And so that's first and foremost what he does. What he does lose today is his vertical. That's what Moore really brought to the table. And if I'm a defensive coordinator, I need to be cognizant. I had to be cognizant of where Moore is, and I want to have a safety over the top. And then the tight end really helps you in the play action pass. So he loses the vertical, which LSU has struggled with, and so I think that's an intriguing part of this game today.
Personnel-wise, what did LSU find last week? Because they go to Florida and they give up 600 yards, but they caused some turnovers, and it was enough to win the game. They did it without Micah Baskerville. They did it without Derek Stingley. They did it for most of the game without Cordell Flott and for at least half the game without Eli Ricks. So you saw some young players come in there and really step up their game. So what did they find personnel-wise that can help them out today when they get some people back?
Look, I think for LSU, you go back to what they did against Texas A&M, and you know Alabama was a different creature, right? But against Texas A&M, I think they simplified some things. They line up with two safeties on the hash. They play man-free out of it. Played a little bit of two-man, and they could play some zone. They could do three different thins out of it. And you know where you got beat against Florida was I don't think scheme-wise you got beat as much as you just got beat with some youngins out there and some new guys when you got Evans out there. And the safety play has just not been good. Let's call it what it is, in coverage especially, right?
Yeah.
And so I think they've simplified. I think they've done a better job of filling lanes. Clark played really well in run support today. So that's what they've done since A&M, and Alabama was a crap show, as we all know, but I think they're going to continue to do more of that today.
Dwight McGlothern is not a name that a lot of people know. Even the diehard fans say, "Oh yeah, that's the big, long, rangy corner that they got last year." He hasn't had to play much. Got in a little bit in the Arkansas game when they ran into some injury problems. I liked what I saw out of him. He reminds me. You remember Tharrell Simon, who was a very long defensive back, and Simon. The only reason he didn't play more than he did was he was on a team that was just loaded with, the Tyrann Matthews of the world,
right.
Morris Claiborne in that group. But he was a very good player, played some in the NFL. That's who he reminds me. I think he got a lot of upside.
Yeah, huge upside, just the length and the fact that he was willing to engage. And I thought he really did a good job too, football IQ-wise, for a young freshman quarterback. What I mean by that, he did a great job of using the sideline, which we haven't seen LSU corners do a lot this year on deep balls. And he got out of his cushion more times than not when he had to. In fact, the touchdown they threw on him, they threw a back shoulder phase because they recognized he was doing a good job. He wasn't going to get beat deep, and that's a natural progression with it. So I like McGlothern. There's no doubt about it. So where does he fit in today? You're going to get Flott back. I believe Stingley was a thigh contusion. Mm-hmm. So, that tells you usually after a week he'll be back. But I'd like to see some more of him.
Don't know if they're going to go back and look, either coach, a whole lot at last year's game. Different coaching staff for Ole Miss, different defensive coordinator for LSU. But what I remember, as I'm sure you do, was in the second half, John Rice Plumlee ran his own personal track meet. He's been kind of an afterthought in this offense, which is surprising to me. I thought they would find more creative ways to use him. So, any thought to the idea? Ole Miss has been off a few weeks. They've had an opportunity to maybe put some gadgets in, especially without two key weapons today. It's like, hey, man, maybe let me use this guy that ate LSU up a year ago.
Yeah, maybe so. But, you can get to that with Ely. I think Ely Ely's already on the field. You've got Ely and Snoop Connor. They're two good running threats. This is one of the most balanced offenses in the SEC. And you know what Plumlee's in the game for, right? Plumlee goes in, sirens go off, and right. So I think that's why he hasn't used him quite as much. I don't think last year's game matters, but what does matter is he's had all this time to consume this tape, and one of the problems with LSU, as I mentioned, they've had to get a little bit more vanilla on defense. What I am going to take time on this week, if I'm Lane Kiffin, or over the last couple of weeks, is I'm going to show a whole lot of eye candy. Right? I'm going to give you a whole lot of eye candy. I'm going to try and get matchups. I'm going to try to get the safeties isolated, meaning Harris, Endor, Mohampton, and some sort of coverage. And I want to get Jacoby. I want to get Jacoby away from the line of scrimmage. I don't want him playing downhill. I want him in coverage as well, too. So I think that's more what LSU's really struggled with. I go back to the Missouri film, right? Guy runs in motion. All of a sudden, half the team's playing one coverage, half the team's playing another coverage. You got the fourth string slot receiver running wide open for a touchdown on a post in the middle of the field because you got a bust. I think that's what Lane's going to see on film. That's what he's going to take advantage of.
Ole Miss hasn't played a game in 21 days. I can't imagine the conversation on Thursday when Moore and Yeboah say, we're out. And I got to think that the first thing out of Lane Kiffin's mouth was, you're telling me now? Mm-hmm. You could have told me this at any point in the last 3 weeks and allowed us to at least account for your absence, and now you're giving me 48 hours. This is almost like it was planned by the opposition, right? Wait until the very end and then leave your coach in a bind. So if you're Lane Kiffin, you get these two very key pieces taken away, 2 days to kickoff, then what do you do?
Well, I don't think the offense changes, especially at the wide position. But I think my call sheet changes, especially in the tight end position, because they are going to look. They're going to try. It's going to rain. That's the other part of it. You're going to try and run the football. Your tight end's a big part of that game with the play action and the things that you want to do. Watching on film, they've got two other young and up and comers, 11 and 13. You got the name in front of you. I'll be ready once I get there. They can stretch the football field.
Sanders and Drummond.
Yeah, Sanders and Drummond. Look, they've caught. I went through some of the cut ups, and they can get down the football field as well. So I don't think that it drastically changes what you're doing outside of probably less targets to the tight end position. And again, this game plan is going to get affected in the second half with the rain.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll flip sides. We'll talk about the LSU offense against the Ole Miss defense. Brought to you by your Super Chevy dealers. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
During times of trouble, hope keeps us calm, and courage keeps us strong. Here in Louisiana, we know this better than most. After all, we faced hardship, but hurricanes and floods never washed away what makes us strong. It's our culture, the spirit of resilience that says rise and rise up again. We'll make it through the tough times, we always do. And Blue Cross will always be here to support you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on them.
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues, getting you ready for LSU and Ole Miss. We talk about the LSU offense now against the Ole Miss defense. Let's start with Max Johnson, who had a very nice debut as a starter. Gordy, exactly what you've been talking about for weeks as we've seen him in relief, the ability that he has to move. One of the stats, the advanced stats that came out of this game was 44 dropbacks for LSU. 2 quarterback knockdowns and 4 pressures.
Yeah,
and it's the same offensive line that's had problems all year, and he was able to buy himself some time, give them a chance, and make some plays with his feet. So you like the way he went through his progressions in the other games. What did you see in this one?
More of the same. And you know, the stat line, I don't think defines the whole performance. And I just go back in town Wednesday evening. So, you know, I'm here to tell you that it was the subtle things that he did. The 3-yard run that wasn't a -6. The ability to step up in the pocket. The ability to just move 2 steps to the left. You know, a lot of the things that Burrow did well, not comparing Johnson to Burrow. Yeah. You got to be able to do that. And that's what going back to TJ Finley, and it seems like I'm not trying to be critical of Finley. He's done some good things. But what Kevin Steele did to TJ Finley is what I feared everybody in this conference would do, is put 9 inside the hashes, and because you know where he's going to be. Yeah. And there were so many key plays that Johnson made in that last drive when he was able to run that naked boot and move the chains when you were worried about the options throwing the football. You know, that he brings that, and he just sees the field really well. And he's able to go through his progressions. He knows what's coming after him. And that's what impressed me, because I've been yelling tempo, tempo, tempo. And when they had a couple of 3 and outs, Coach O basically said, no more tempo. Right? And so, hey, my defense needs the rest. And so, especially in the third quarter, when they were able to go deep in the play count, they were able to audible, and you got a chess match going on between, at that point, Ensminger and Grantham on the other side. He was still able to see the field and know what was coming. That hadn't been the case with Finley, and at times, you know, Brennan got caught with some of those as well, too.
So I named a lot of guys that they were without on defense last week. Some they knew before the game and some during the game. So let me just go through the offensive list, okay? No Marshall, no Gilbert, no McMath before the game. And then you get into the game, no Ty Davis-Price, no John Emery after
back-to-back
about
plays.
a quarter and a half or whatever it was. So, again, an opportunity for a lot of people. Keyshawn Boutte looks like a budding star. And the old reliable Chris Curry, you know, they just seem to, you know, to pull him out of mothballs whenever they really need him, and he plays hard. And I don't know, I think they're going to get Emery back today. Not sure about TDP. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like he's going to be there today. So you got some options here with the young and the old alike, I guess.
So the thing about Curry's finally healthy. I'll tell you, the first 5 games of the season seems like he was on the exercise bike. He just was it a groin or something? He just could not get loose, and he did look like Chris Curry of Peach Bowl last week. I think Emery plays. It was a shoulder. I thought he could go back into the game. Obviously, he could not. Davis-Price was more serious. And look, running is a huge part of it. I believe it was 50 carries, if I'm not mistaken, is what LSU ran for.
Yeah.
Right, with the quarterbacks, and some of those are sacks and pressures with it. It's a big part today. There's no question it's a big part today, and this is the worst defense in the SEC statistically in Ole Miss. You know what they're going to do. They're going to sell the farm on you and get after you, and they want to get in the shootout. It's, you know, they want to force the game and get their offensive back there on the field. So I think running the football is going to be a big part of it today.
Total in the game is 75.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I was thinking this morning about the 1999 Arkansas game. This was the Hal Hunter game. Mm-hmm. This was the game after DiNardo was fired. And they just went out, and that season after the Georgia game was sort of devoid of any joy. A lot of bad things happened to that team. And the last day they just went out, you know, DiNardo was gone. There was a pressure release to it, and they just had fun. And they beat Arkansas 10 ways to Sunday, who was a good team that year, and LSU wasn't. I started to think about today. This group has been in that building, and when I mean literally in that building almost for 6.5 months. They know that tomorrow they get off, that your break is coming. You can go see your family. You don't have to go somewhere where you're going to get tested 3 times a day. No bowl game, no extra practice. This is it. What are the chances that they just go out there, turn it loose, have fun today, and do to Ole Miss what they did 21 years ago to Arkansas?
I think it's very possible. You know, look, I can't tell you the sense of relief I think that team had running around the Florida field looking for LSU fans, which really weren't there other than some parents. And that was kind of a funny celebration. And it was just the players are just running around circles on the field.
In the fog.
You didn't know. Yeah, you had the fog. You didn't know which people were real because there were so many cutouts.
Yeah.
And no, but I think that you had the win. You have some confidence going into this football game. All the above, right? And that's what you brought up. You've been practicing since June.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people want to ask about Elijah Moore, and anybody that's opting out, I get it. Right now, it's a February, and we look at it in black and white. I've had enough, right? Somebody, Ronnie Rance, I was on with him earlier. They asked about a bowl game. Nobody wants to go bowl game. Go spend 2 nights in Houston and go play Kansas State on New Year's Eve. Player, us covering it as a media.
That's right.
They're happy. So I think what you're bringing, your point is this. Are they ready to cut it loose? I think LSU's probably more ready to cut this thing loose than Ole Miss, that loses their 2 stars. They're out of rhythm. They haven't played in 21 days. It's a good spot for that to happen.
Have a good call. I hope the rain holds off.
Oh, no.
I mean, you're due a break.
There's been nothing normal, man.
No,
I'm not getting any younger.
Definitely not. When we come back, Shea Dixon was National Signing Day this week. We'll talk with him from Go247. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter.
104.5 WNXX Jackson, 104.9 KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. The 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge Scoreboard, presented by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life, on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, at least a modicum of drama remains in the Big 12 championship game. Iowa State defensively has put the clamps down in the second half on Oklahoma. Sooners did not score in the third quarter. There's about 9 minutes to play in that game, and it's a 24-14 Oklahoma lead. So Iowa State within striking distance, down 10 in that ball game. Meanwhile, in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship game, Northwestern did punt, and Ohio State's on the move now. They're inside the 10-yard line Leading by 3, 13-10, looking for more here. Just underway in the fourth quarter, 12:55 and counting there in the fourth quarter.
So Ohio State did not end up scoring after that turnover, though.
No, they punted. That was
Okay.
just on the fringe of field goal range, and so they decided to punt. Northwestern was down at around the 5-yard line, put together a couple of first downs, stalled, and then ultimately punted. Ohio State, though, on a 3rd and goal, is stopped short. So this is a 4th. Well, forgive me, they can get a first down. It's 4th and 6 here for Ohio State, and it looks like they are going to run their field goal team out. This, I hate to say, is a chip shot, because actually that is a little bit of there's a little bit of an irony in calling field goal as a chip shot, because chipping is very hard in golf, actually, right?
Oh.
You know, it's not an easy thing to do.
Well,
maybe if you're just saying like that, it's close.
I'm not. Yeah,
Field goal is up and through.
I
So
think close
12.
would be the main thing. I think a kicker might tell you, well, yeah, these kicks aren't easier, but like, is chipping harder than driving? I'm terrible at driving.
Absolutely.
I'm terrible at driving. I'm terrible at driving.
12. The field goal is good. 12:07 to play in the ball game in Indianapolis. Ohio State 16-10 on top of Northwestern.
So you're just ripping him down the middle, Musa?
Shorter the club, the easier theoretically to control. So longer the club, harder to control where it goes, but you get it farther.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's where I think the chip shot analogy would come in. It's all the same factors in terms of
a chip shot is a very fine shot. There's not
no
a lot
doubt,
of room
no
for
doubt,
error.
no doubt. But in the same token, like Matt's saying, that longer distance, harder to control, harder to keep it on target. I mean, that all applies to field goals as well. I just can't stop thinking about K. Jorgen, that 57-yarder, man. That kick will be burned into my brain for all time. That was Luke Skywalker stuff. It was awesome.
I think we have to hit another scoreboard open. So hit that one, Musso, please.
The Magnolia Bluffs Casino College Football Scoreboard. The Magnolia Bluffs Casino Hotel in Natchez. It's not what you play, it's who you play with.
We got a few different directions we could go here. We still have not talked about last night's Pac-12 championship. You said you have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, let's do that. By the way, A&M knocking on the door. They're up 31-13 with about 5 minutes to play in that ball game. But game's over, and they're still actively trying to score, and they need to. I mean, like we said, they need style points. They need to make that look good. It's 31-13. I'm sorry, with 2.5 to play, facing 3rd and goal. Aggies looking for more, and they need it. As weird as it is to say, 38-13 looks a lot better than 31-13.
Jeez, in the nightmare for Tennessee fans as well.
Do you think they fire Pruitt?
Does it accomplish? I'm feeling so. I'm okay. I'm trying to think about what I want to say here. I guess it's almost like I feel like this is how I feel on Scott Frost. Like, what's the point? If you fire Pruitt, who's going to come in and do better? Has college football passed Tennessee by? Maybe it has. They still have massive resources. They're in the SEC, so their ability to, they're only going to get more revenue over these next few years, which maybe ends up impacting them versus the rest of the country. But with a does a powerful Georgia and a powerful Florida, does that just take away too much from Tennessee to be able to be good?
I think Tennessee is just at inherent recruiting disadvantage.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
like Nebraska.
They've got to recruit outside. You can do it, and they've got resources and plenty enough there to be good. They've just consistently made bad hires. Derek Dooley and Butch
so you think there
Jones
would be a point, you think you could get a good hire that can make it work at Tennessee again?
What if Lane Kiffin had stayed there for more than a year?
I don't know. People weren't super high on Lane then, were they? What did they do that one Tennessee year? I actually don't remember how they were that year.
They were right above 500, but he inherited a not great situation from Fulmer, and the biggest game of the year was probably a loss where they were playing number 1 Alabama, and I think lost 13-10. Terrence Cody blocked a field goal that.
Oh yeah, that was the Lane
year. Maybe it was 12-10. Yeah.
With the Cody block. Okay, yeah, I remember that. It was 12-10.
12-10.
That was the last.
There would have been a game-winning field goal. Yeah.
Oh God, that was the last great hope that Tennessee had in that game.
So I guess you just look at it from that standpoint with Tennessee, and I would say this actually with any coaching situation, unless if your program is just an abject disaster, like if you're Kansas.
Yeah, that's actually it popped into my head.
And there's no justification really for keeping someone in place unless if you just need to give that I wouldn't fire Les Miles at Kansas. I think if right now if you're Kansas, you've got to give your coach an opportunity to see if he can build. That's never going to be a thing where
you also can't buy it. You don't want to pay a buyout for that bad at football.
I get it. But if you're ever going to be something, then you've got to be willing to give someone time to build something.
Yeah, and I agree. I think we agree that he probably won't. But like, I think they also just don't. I mean,
but this isn't about Kansas.
Football's going to be bad regardless. Why pay the buyout as well as the salary?
But this isn't about Kansas. It's about Tennessee. So stay on point. The point
you just went to Kansas, but continue.
I was just giving an illustration. But the point is with Tennessee is if you have a coach in mind who's on the hook, then you make the change. Like with Texas,
like Auburn did. They were like, we want Kevin Steele.
No, that's the Auburn. The Auburn thing is a disaster. But if you're now, I'm not saying Gus was the guy, and maybe ripping the Band-Aid off now was the right thing to do.
If you're going to pay $21 million, you got to have somebody in place.
Well, look at what LSU did with Ogeron. I mean, that was. Listen, we can say what we want with the benefit of hindsight now, but the reality is that was a disaster. You fired Les. It was a public relations nightmare. You did it in the middle of the season. You thought you had Tom Herman. Your athletic director was a wuss. He chickened out. He bleeped up the whole thing, and then he rushed the defensive line coach to the podium. I mean, that's what happened. But they won a championship last year. So we can say with hindsight whatever you want, but either way.
The Ogeron hire was better than Tom Herman in hindsight, absolutely. You can't play in some fantasy universe where Tom Herman comes in here and does good. What? I mean, if he can't make it work at Texas, why would he be able to make it work here?
What he was inheriting. LSU is at a better this isn't even debatable. LSU's won 3 national titles and played for 4 since 2003 in 17 years. I mean, it's just a better program than Texas. I mean, nobody's debating that, but that's neither here nor there. But the point is,
the road to a championship is also significantly easier through the Big 12 than it would be through the SEC.
With respect to Texas, if they could have gotten Urban Meyer, yes, fire your coach. Get Urban Meyer.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're Tennessee, if you've got that guy, this is all about Urban Meyer or Tennessee, and we've taken so many deviations. But the point is, if Tennessee has someone on the hook, yes, fire Jeremy Pruitt. If you feel like you've got a no-doubter, yes. Otherwise, you roll with him and let him keep building his program.
Yeah.
A&M kicked a field goal with a minute left.
They got stopped.
It's 34-13.
Do you want to talk about that Pac-12 championship?
Sure.
So last night in the Pac-12 championship, the Oregon Ducks hold off USC's rally, as Matt said, that they've done so many times this year, and Oregon comes out with a 31-24 win.
This is a game where USC threw an interception like on the third play of the game. Oregon got 6 and then was up 14. And every time USC would score, Oregon would answer. Yeah. And so they kept them at arm's length at about 2 scores the entire ball game. And then there at the end, it looked like SC was going to do what they've done so many times. In 3 of their wins this year, they've trailed late in the fourth quarter and managed to find a way to win. Most notably against Arizona State when they were down 14 or 13 with 2 minutes left. They score, get an onside kick, score and win. And look, Clay Helton, I mean, they stole a possession last night on an onside kick. And
how are you getting 2 onside kicks in the same season when nobody can even get one?
Well, this wasn't at the end.
It's kind of been a good one.
This wasn't at the end. Like, they had been trailing, they scored, and they got an onside kick, but Oregon got a stop. Then at the end of the ball game, SC scores to make it a 1-score game, and you're thinking, here we go again. And then Oregon has the ball and throws a pick. So SC, or punts rather. SC gets a stop, Oregon punts, and now you're thinking, here we go again. They're going to go score and then win this game in overtime. And Keaton Slovis made one of the most boneheaded plays that you'd ever see. He's being flushed. There's not a receiver in sight. Instead of throwing the ball into row 15, he throws it on the sideline. And Oregon makes a super athletic play, which looked like he was out of bounds initially. They review it, and I'll be damned, kid gained possession like with his fingertips and had his foot tapped down and came away with the pick, and then Oregon ran out the clock. It was
just the tips.
It was a mighty impressive win for Oregon, which was a good team that lost a ton of NFL talent. You had 2 or 3 offensive linemen opt out at the beginning of the season. Had 2 of their starting defensive backs opt out at the beginning of the season.
They didn't even have Penei Sewell.
They lost a lot this year. And Mario Cristobal is a guy who was on the Saban tree, is a great recruiter, got the job at FIU, and was a disaster. I mean, they thought Miami guy would be able to recruit Miami and get play, and it was just he just never won. So the fact that he got the Oregon job was such a surprise to me. But He's put together a good staff there. Of course, Joe Moorhead is the offensive coordinator, the former Mississippi State coach. The most stunning thing watching that Oregon offense is it looks nothing like what Mississippi State looked like last year. I mean,
except for the two quarterbacks,
it's so much more creative, so much more diverse. Like, it's fun, the motion and all. Like, it was. I'm like, where was all of this?
Is that? I wonder if that's like just brainstorming here. Is that like a conference style standpoint? Does he feel like that style just?
You know what I was? What I couldn't help but think.
Maybe he was trying to take advantage of Kylan Hill. Like, he looked at his teams like, I think this is where I'm strong.
I just keep thinking about Keaton Thompson, the kid from New Orleans who was at State and then it just transferred out.
State championship.
Like, I was just thinking, watching this, I'm going, Joe Moorhead could have run this offense with Keaton Thompson and Kylan Hill. Like, that would have been really good. But he went with Garrett Schrader,
like the freshman,
and then and Tommy Stevens as well was there also, the kid who he had transferred from Penn State. I'm going, it was perplexing. I mean, Joe Moorhead cost himself his job. Anyway.
Big 3rd and 6 here. Northwestern game. Northwestern across the 50. Into Ohio State territory. Gets tripped up. 4th down. Northwestern look like they're going to have to punt. Ohio State still leading Northwestern 16-10, 9:20 left in that game.
At what
Speaking
point
of style points,
at what
Ohio
point
State needs them.
At what point, if you're Ohio State, he tripped over his own guy? Oh, gosh. Ramsey tripped over his own offensive line.
He maybe had a little window.
At what point, if you are Ohio State, or sorry, if you're Northwestern, do you start thinking about going for it? I mean, you're at midfield. You're down 6.
I mean, if he hadn't gotten sacked, this was 4th and 4, 4th and 5. You absolutely go for it. I think it's just
I mean, punt it in the end zone. You gain, 20 yards of field position?
Yeah. I mean, it's 4th and 10, though. What are the chances when you look at how your offense has played this day? You're getting 4th and 10. I think with 9 minutes left and you're only down 6. Your defense has been playing well for the most part all day. I'm normally like a let's get risky to win type of deal, especially when you're the underdog. But I kind of get that play there. Now I think every possession from here on out, though, I think you've officially entered the mid game or the end game. That might have signaled the end of the mid game.
Doling now with 5:50 clock running in Arlington. Iowa State has a 1st and goal. They're down 10. All right, it's going to be 2nd and goal from the 3 or maybe the 2, depending on where they spot it. But Oklahoma leading Iowa State 24-14, 5.5 to play in the ball game, and Iowa State's at the 2. So they punch this in here. Either way, you assume they get points here. This is going to be a one-score game, and Iowa State's defense in the second half has to be the story because it was a
they got it!
push touchdown Iowa State. So Iowa State's in the end zone. This is about to be a field goal game with 5 minutes to play. That's a heck of a rally and a great job by Iowa State's defense after giving up 24 points in the first half to shut out this Oklahoma offense in the second half.
Let's see what happens now. Speaking of the end game, what a fascinating we have in the Big 12. Dude, if Iowa State wins this game, are we sure there's no scenario? I mean, I guess, I don't know if they were placed at 6. Maybe they were just placed at 6 because they have to be placed at 6 because it makes sense that everything else shook out. But is there no scenario where they jump the small season Ohio State and then the 8-1? Because it is going to be 8-1 for A&M,
so
right?
First of all, let's just be clear about something. So the A&M game is final.
Yeah.
So A&M has beaten Tennessee 34-13. They finished the season 8-1. So and ESPN's FPI gives A&M a 43% chance to make the playoff. And Jimbo's getting mugged by his players on the field.
It sounds like the perfect percentage for Aggie fans to get their hopes up, only for it not to happen.
So Oklahoma's leading Iowa State 24-21 with 5 to play. They got to get a stop and win the game still. So that's the part of this where you're forgetting. The other part is
I'm not forgetting that. Obviously,
Okay,
I'm saying,
right.
yeah.
But if they win, let's play the hypothetical. If they win, this is still not an impressive win.
Oh,
T-Bob, but think about the context we're talking about. Like, we're talking about A&M needed style points. Ohio State needed style points. Eking a win against Oklahoma is not.
But the playoff has them at 10.
I get it, but this is still not one of those games. Like, the way this has transpired isn't the one where you're going to say, man, the example that I always give to people was the first year of the playoff when Ohio State was out because they had lost early in the season to Virginia Tech, who finished 6-6, bad loss, lost at home that game, and they had the Big 12 TCU at number 2 going into the last weekend, but TCU and Baylor were both one-loss teams. Baylor beat TCU. And they liked TCU better. They had TCU ranked second. And they realized, we really can't justify putting them in. So we need an option. Well, Ohio State beat Wisconsin 59-0 in the conference championship game. And so they went, Ohio State. So if there was something that dramatic that happened today, like if Iowa State won this game 59-0 and got everybody's attention, you're having a different conversation than like a little rally eke past Oklahoma to win the Big 12 championship game, especially when they have a heinous loss. They have a double-digit home loss to a Sun Belt school. You can't do it. So I don't see any scenario where Iowa State would get in. About a 30-yard run on first down for Ohio State. So one play, they've already moved the ball out to midfield. So 8 minutes and counting in that ball game in Indianapolis. Northwestern's played a heck of a game. They led for the bulk of the game. Ohio State didn't get its first lead until late in the third quarter, but they lead 16-10 right now with under 8 to play. All right, it's Scoreboard Show presented by Home Bank. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. The other game that's in action right now, Washington State all over Utah in Salt Lake City right now. It's 28-7. The Cougs on top of the Utes with 1 minute and 20 seconds to play before halftime. The rest of the game still to come tonight at...
Who's the coach of Washington State now? Who replaced Leach?
God, I don't even know.
Let's look it up.
And if I don't know, that's something.
I agree with that. That means that he is existing in complete college football anonymity. Well, no wonder. This is the most fake, generic name that I could possibly imagine for a head coach that we all have no idea who it is. His name is quite literally Kyle Smith.
I have no idea who Kyle Smith is. I got nothing for you.
I mean, I know
Did they
Kyle
promote
Smith.
somebody?
I think I've met like 30 Kyle Smiths in my life. I mean, they're great guys. They're just run-of-the-mill, salt-of-the-earth guys.
So the Pac-12 has John Smith and Kyle Smith as head coaches.
Let me make sure. Oh, sorry, that's a men's basketball head coach. It looks like Nick Rolovich is who we're looking at.
Rolovich, okay.
Rolovich, I feel like I've heard of.
Yes. Okay.
Wow, he's ugly.
That's not cool, man. All right, so 2:30, of course, LSU Ole Miss. Missouri, Mississippi State will be on SEC Network alternate at 2:30. Then following at 3 o'clock, you got the ACC Championship game with Clemson and Notre Dame. That game will be on ABC. Minnesota and Wisconsin at 3 o'clock on the Big Ten Network, which means 2/3 of the country won't see it. Nobody cares anyway. 3:15 on Fox, Boise State, San Jose State. That's the Mountain West Championship game at the Sam Boyd Stadium out in Las Vegas. That's the current home of UNLV, although UNLV is moving. Actually, it was. Now UNLV is playing their home games at Allegiant, the Raiders Stadium, which is pretty sweet.
Talk about the glow up. Jeez.
Right? Illinois and Penn State.
So if you're a player at UNLV right now, you literally get to play in like essentially like a coliseum.
Yeah.
Like you're playing in like you'd be like some local backwater Roman gladiator that gets to go play at the big stage every week just because that's great. You know that those locker rooms are probably incredible. Like even the side ones that the UNLV guys are using, they could have never imagined they'd end up there.
Illinois and Penn State is at 4:30 on FS1. We haven't talked at all about Brett Bielema, who's back in the game. Brett Bielema today, the former Arkansas coach, hired to replace Lovie Smith as the Illinois head coach, and I actually like that a lot. I think
they should have just have him coach today.
Here's the thing: Brett Bielema tried to recreate Alabama and LSU in the SEC. He tried to be, for what they were at the time before we went to these crazy spread offenses and everything. He tried to create big physical offensive line, run the ball, play action,
he tried
good
to do
defense.
his Wisconsin thing in the SEC.
Right. It wasn't going to work in the SEC West because you were never going to out-recruit LSU and Alabama, so you were never going to be able to do that here. He can do that at Illinois. You can do that there because he did it at Wisconsin. Like, this can work. I don't think it's going to work tomorrow. But I do think Brett Bielema can go recreate what he did at Wisconsin again at Illinois.
Yeah, I could buy that.
Go recruit the Chicago
There's
area.
Big boys around there up in the Midwest. For
Midwestern,
sure.
Recruit the state of Illinois, Chicago area. Recruit the state of Ohio. I mean, get you some big, nasty offensive linemen. Find you some running backs, which always seem to be plentiful in the Big Ten and in the Midwest. You can win. You can win there. I'm not saying he's going to win championships, but can he consistently have that program as a consistent bowl team pushing to win their division.
I mean, they're in the and they're in that
They're in the
the
awful
weak
division,
West.
yes.
Yeah.
Where Wisconsin runs the whole thing. So,
well, excuse me, you mean Northwestern
or Indiana, right? But anyway, Ohio State, by the way,
or
with
Brody Miller's Indiana Hoosiers.
4.5 to play. Ohio State's just about to put a button on this game. They're now inside of the 10-yard line. They got second and goal, leading by 6, 16-10. The other games tonight over this evening: Stanford and UCLA from the Rose Bowl at 6 o'clock. You got Bama, Florida, of course, in the SEC Championship game at 7. Also at 7 is the American Athletic Conference Championship game with Cincinnati, Tulsa, and nobody will be watching because everyone will be watching Bama, Florida. And then the nightcap, at which I'm so fired up to have Pac-12 after dark, Arizona State and Oregon State. Ohio State does, in fact, punch it into the end zone, so it's lights out for Cinderella. Trey Sermon with a touchdown run around right end. So Ohio State now up 22-10 with 4 minutes to play in this ball game, and barring some horrendous,
You just need pick
barring
six or
some
some
horrendous,
BS,
horrendous
dude.
backdoor cover, I'm going to be okay in this one with my 18.5. All right, it is the Scoreboard Show presented by Home Bank. We'll grab our final break. When we come back, final thoughts on LSU Ole Miss as we are 12 minutes away from kick in Death Valley. Stick around with us here, Matt and T-Bob.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
You may not know about the 4Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4 kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
During times of trouble, hope keeps us calm, and courage keeps us strong. Here in Louisiana, we know this better than most. After all, we've faced hardship, but hurricanes and floods never washed away what makes us strong. It's our culture, the spirit of resilience that says rise and rise up again. We'll make it through the tough times, we always do. And Blue Cross will always be here to support you.
I can't tell you how many people tried to discourage me when I said, I'm opening up a haunted house. If you love doing something, don't let anything or anyone stand in your way.
I
how he comes up with this stuff in his head and designs it is mind-boggling.
Debbie and Home Bank understand my business and understand that it's not normal.
The 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge Scoreboard, presented by Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. On 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Okay, they held it. All right, wrapping up Scoreboard Show presented by Home Bank. Ohio State is going to win the Big Ten championship. They lead 22-10 with under 4 to play. We'll see what Northwestern can do as they try to feverishly get back in the ball game. Drama in Arlington with Oklahoma leading Iowa State 24-21.
27-21. Now they held them to a field goal. They made the field goal. So now Oklahoma 27, Iowa State 21. Iowa State will be getting the ball back. 2 minutes left. Brock Purdy, you're supposed to be this really good NFL prospect, this really good quarterback.
Okay, so LSU and Ole Miss, we have 2 minutes.
This is your opportunity to prove something.
Final thought on LSU Ole Miss.
I don't like to predict this LSU team. I feel like I know it inside and out, but it's just because of that, I know how volatile it is, right? What I do really like,
we all got last week wrong too.
I am very exactly.
I've gotten 2 games right. That's what I'm saying. So
I'm not
Vanderbilt and what was the one they won a couple weeks ago?
Florida. Oh, 2 games right. South Carolina.
No, then they lost. Oh, Bama. Vanderbilt and Bama are the only 2 I've gotten right. They beat Vanderbilt and lost to Bama. Those are the only 2 games I've correctly predicted for LSU this year. That's
one of the elements I do like today, though,
I need to pick Ole Miss so LSU can win.
The freshman quarterbacks have gone the way of the offensive line, and I don't think Ole Miss's defensive line is very disruptive or should be able to. Is Oklahoma kicking an onside kick?
Oh God.
Oh. A fake
That's the stupidest
kick.
thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, now they're just wasting our time.
Now I've seen it all. Oklahoma State faked an onside kick.
Yeah, I don't know why.
First down Northwestern. Northwestern converts 4th and 3, so 3 minutes to go. Anyway,
I'm just saying I actually like the freshman quarterback, the offensive ability to have a little rhythm tonight because I don't think Ole Miss's D-line is good enough to really put the LSU offensive line on the back heel.
LSU's look, Ole Miss's defense is atrocious. Ole Miss's defense allows over 400 yards a game. They're abysmal. I mean, they are worse than LSU's defense. They're just an awful defense. LSU will move the ball, will score, but so will Ole Miss. I know
even with no Elijah Moore and Yeboah.
Yes, because what I do know is that Lane Kiffin is going to scheme with motion. He will have guys running free in the secondary because he's just a great play caller, and LSU is always confused in the secondary. It would be different if it was, hey, go man on man, like what LSU did against Texas A&M, and LSU's talent won out. But
the problem there is LSU's gone so simple, man, that the good OCs have really just manipulated the hell out of him. It's what you saw in the Alabama game.
Do you have a thought on who wins?
No, like I said, I mean, predictions, whatever. I'll just state that I'll never put faith in this year's LSU team because it's so inconsistent. But actually, I probably honestly think it is LSU.
The line's down to 1. So it was LSU 1.5, went all the way to Ole Miss 2.5. It's down to 1 now. I like LSU in this game for one reason. Both defenses are terrible. Ole Miss is going to score a bunch. They're going to put up a bajillion yards. So will LSU. The difference is Ole Miss's special teams are awful. They've punted 6 times all year, and they've only attempted 6 field goals. Their special teams are terrible. I think LSU's are really good. So I think LSU's going to win this game because of special teams. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy the football. Go Tigers.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving